Year. It is Sunday, October 13th, 2024, and you are watching One More Round Fights. I am your host, Gaff, and this is the official One More Round birthday stream. That's right, it's my birthday, October 13th, and we're doing a special stream today because a lot of good things happened this weekend. It was a great weekend for the bank. It's a great weekend for the bets. Wasn't a great weekend for the One More Round parlays. Sorry if you tailed. But great weekend all around. And I'm in chipper. I'm in a chipper mood today because we won a lot of money yesterday. Coming in this week's wins. Stick around for that. But yeah. So if you have seen me before, you probably seen me on one of these two channels here, Main Card Minute or One More Round Fights. You know me from the Main Card Minute. We do a live watch along for the UFC cards, sometimes some boxing fights, sometimes some PFL fights, blah, blah, blah. Basically, we do a live stream and we give you picks and we win you money. So you should check us out. Scan the QR code below. That is Main Card Minute on your left and One More Round on your right. Please like and subscribe as well. Check out the channels, One More Round on TikTok, One More Round on Instagram, and please subscribe and like this video if you're watching on YouTube right now. If you've got some wins to send the show, please send them over. I want to see how much money I won you, how much money you won yourself. Email one more round fights at gmail.com. That is one more round fights at gmail.com. And thank you to our sponsor, w.gg. Use promo code one more round for 10% off. That is w.gg. Use code one more round for 10% off. Without further ado, it's already 11:05, so let's get into it. Thank you to my king of the week, Raw Dog, Brandon Royval. Royval beats Tatsuro Taira via split decision. What a freaking fight, let me tell you. Let's do a quick recap of the fight, and then we'll get into ramifications for each fighter. Let me pull up the UFC rankings for when we do that. All right. So Royval beats Tatsuro Taira by split decision. I saw it coming. I hope you tailed. I called it on last week. Told you Raw Dog was going to do his thing. And guess what? Motherfucker did. He did do his thing. We won some motherfucking money. You're welcome. Anyways, Brandon Royval he started off like a Brandon Royval fight. You know, he's pumping his jab, he's throwing his crosses, he's trying to stay on the outside because he knows everyone wants to take him down because of how wild he can get. So he was kind of ready for that. So round one, it was very close, very close. It could have gone either way, and the judges had it as such. But I gave it to Royval, and a majority of the judges did as well. Then round two was a tire round. He managed to take the back of Royval and stay there for a large amount of time. I think he was on his back for about 2.5 to 3.5 minutes. Very long time. It was looking scary. I was like, oh, crap. Is this young guy looks like this is what he's going to do to him this whole fight. He's just going to stay on his back. He's going to beat him with control, and he's going to get himself a Mario Bautista win. But that is not what happened, because round three came around and Royval started to big brother him. He started to push him up against the fence, land some big shots, dropped him with two different knees, started to almost look like he was about to finish the fight with about 40 seconds left in round three. And we were losing it because we had round 4 and 5 TKO by Royval. So we were going crazy on the Main Card Minute stream. But Tatsuro Taira managed to stay alive and make it out of that round. And he made it interesting because in round 4, this guy managed to take the back again, not for as long as he did in round 2, but he managed to control the fight. He managed to take his back. He managed to basically make Royval look like this was either 3-1 Taira or 2-2 going into round 5, which was a scary proposition for me, having a lot of bets on my boy Royval. But, you know, my man Royval raw dogged it out. He came through. He pulled through because guess what? Round 5 comes, and he said, Big Brother's back. He fucking comes through, pushes Taira against the fence, beats him up, gets top position, threatens with a choke, punches him to end the round, and ends the round on his back, slash on top, because he was like punching him from the side kind of deal. And guess what? Your boy Raw Dog Brandon Royval edges it out with a split decision on 2 judges' scorecards. Let's fucking go. Cash it, baby. Brandon Royval, what a win. I'm so proud of this guy. I knew he was going to pull out a win. This young guy, he was right in his assessment before the fight. He was saying that he's overrated, as too big of a step for him, and it was. To give him a top 5 guy like Royval, to give him a top 5 guy after only have fighting Alex Perez, who, no offense to Alex Perez, but should not have even ever sniffed the top 5. And for him to get finished, well, sorry, for him to beat that, for him to finish him and just to get a top 5 guy like that, I was like, that's a little crazy, in my opinion. I mean, Alex Perez currently sitting at number 6, and Taira is sitting at number 5. So maybe Perez had a 5 spot, and then Taira took it from him, and that's how he got his 5 spot. But wow, Royval proved that he's the top contender in this division. If it's not Brandon Moreno, if it's not Amir Albazi, so Brandon Royval did in his post-fight speech say he wants a title shot, say he deserves to fight for the belt, say he's one of these top guys in the division. He's the big dog out here. I don't know if he'll get it, man. Flyweights, I don't know. I mean, we have Royval, we have Moreno, we have Albazi, we have Asakura fighting Pantoja for the belt at the end of the year on that Bilal Muhammad card. It's tough. It's tough. I could see him waiting it out, and if Pantoja defends, being no other contenders, that's a fun fight. Even if Asakura wins, that's still a fun fight. Royval, Asakura, 2 crazy strikers ready to throw down at any point. So honestly, it's not out of the question. It's not out of the question. I could definitely see Royval pulling a title shot. He may have to wait a little bit, but I could definitely see him getting at least something big off this. He definitely deserves something big after a win like that. He gutted that one out. Now, if he doesn't get that title shot, I like a Moreno rematch, because remember, he got injured in that fight, and that, I think that's when his shoulder popped, and Mark Montoya had to pop his shoulder back in, but he couldn't do it in time, so they had to call the fight off. That was against Brandon Moreno. There's Amir Albazi. A lot of people saying he needs to get another good win before he fights for the title. Maybe a Royval Albazi title eliminator would be fun as well. Maybe a Kai Kara France win after that big win over Steve Erceg, big knockout win. That would be a fun fight. 2 crazy strikers, 2 boys willing to go at it. There's a lot of matchups for Royval, and he's already fought Kai Kara France and beat him, so he may feel like he doesn't need that fight. He may want to avenge that fight with Moreno, so there's that on the table, even though he just won a split against him. But you know, trilogy can happen. And yeah, honestly, I could see why he wanted to wait for the title. He doesn't want to rematch Moreno because he feels as though he wasn't really losing that fight and he got injured in the first one. And then he won in the second one to prove that he felt like he was the better fighter. And then he beat Kai Kara France already. So the only fight that really does make sense is Amir Albazi or a title fight. So yeah, Brandon Royval, great in his assessment and great win by him. As for Tatsuro Taira, take a little time off, work on your game. Maybe you come back against. See, a Kai Kara France would be too much. If you almost got knocked out by Royval, Kai Kara France will definitely knock you out. So you're not fighting Alex Perez again. Maybe if Nicolau wins this week against his opponent, maybe a fight against Nicolau, win or lose. That's probably a good one for Taira, a Nicolau fight, because their styles would make for a good fight against each other. Let's see. Tatsuro Taira. Yeah, he already beat Vergara, and Vergara just got, sent to hell. Maybe a Tim Elliott fight, another veteran. Maybe if he passes a lighter veteran test, that works for him. Maybe a Cody Durden. Oh, just give him somebody a little lower than him in the ring. He's definitely not a top 5er again. We found out where his level is right now, and he's only 24, so he has plenty of time to work and get better. So I think like a nice Tim Elliott, Cody Durden match now. One of those 3 would be nice to see Tatsuro Taira. Actually, all 3 styles complement each other well. All 3 are grapplers, mainly. Tim Elliott has a funky striking style, Durden funky striking, but mainly relies on his grappling, and Schnell, funky striking. But when he does take a game on his striking, he tends to take an L. So his jiu-jitsu would be his route to victory in this fight, even though Taira definitely has the edge there. But I could see Schnell making that an interesting fight too. And honestly, giving Schnell, after all the fights Schnell has put on for us, always bangers, giving him a top 6 guy, top 5 guy, just giving him a chance to crack the top 5. Honestly, I like that too. So I'm rooting for the Matt Schnell fight, honestly. Schnell Taira for me. That's the one that does it for me. Yeah, that's what I want. Schnell Taira. Give it to me, book it. Let's go. Moving on to my fighter spotlight of the week. You already know I called it on the main card minute that I was going to do this. So you know my fighter spotlight of the week is going to be Grant Dawson. Grant Dawson, what a win. You should have been the co-main event spot, my friend. You main evented recently, I believe, right? Didn't he main event? Am I talking crazy? Yeah, he main evented. He lost in the main event, but he main evented and then got a nice big win over Joe Solecki after that at UFC 302. So I thought he would have been co-main for this over Brad Tavares and over who's the other fight? Chitty? Yeah, and over Chitty Bang. I thought he would have, but hey, not a bad spot. Second fight after opening the card up, getting people warmed up. And he did get the lone finish of the card. Grant Dawson, TKOs by elbows and punches in round 2, the time being 1 minute and 42 seconds. Grant Dawson, big win. Finished the guy that's never been finished before. Big win. Grant Dawson. Let's go over his career real quick. Just a little quick Grant Dawson synopsis here. Okay? Just bear with me. Grant KGD Dawson used to train at a Glory MMA with Krause, but now trains at ATT in Coconut Creek, Florida. He's been candid about the fact that he's made a huge leap in his career since leaving Krause's Glory MMA. He basically said that the coaches at American Top Team are basically like the NFL level coaches, the best of the best. So he's improved his game tenfold since going there. And I believe he went there in 2022, I believe, just after the James Krause scandals. More on that a little later. But yeah, he referred to Mike Brown and the ATT staff as NFL level coaches and said his improvement is directly to the training partners available to him there, as well as the high level coaches. Because think about the guys that are there, especially at 55. You got Gamrot, you got Renato Moicano, you got Dustin Poirier. What? Those are the guys sharpening your iron day in, day out? Yeah. I could see why you may have taken a couple shots and why you got finished by Bobby Green a year ago. In October, by the way. But yeah. I could see, you got some hammers in there. Sometimes your toys get broken. But just talking about Grant Dawson's career, as a senior in high school, 40-8 as a wrestler. Cambria, Wisconsin, 40-8. Pretty good damn record. That's 80%. 30 years of age. He's a 5'10 lightweight. 22-2-1. His one draw coming to Ricky Glenn. Pretty good fight. You should go back and watch that one. People say he won that one. I think the MMA media had it like 8-2. 8 out of the 11 said that he should have won that fight. Something like that. But out of his 22 wins, 5 KOs, 13 submissions, and that one draw with Ricky Glenn. He's been finished twice, once early in his career by Hugh Pulley, and then that main event KO that I'm speaking of in October 7th of last year to Bobby Green. It could have been a weight cut issue, could have been, taking too much damage, sparring too much, who knows? Whatever it was. He took his L to Bobby Green, he learned from it. He learned he can't leave his chin out there, he learned he's got to protect his head. He learned a lot from it. And it's led to the guy he is now getting a nice decision win over Joe Solecki and a TKO finish over Rafa Garcia, a TKO that he hasn't gotten since 2016. 2016 over Christian Camp was his last TKO win since. Oh, messing up again. 2021 over Leonardo Santos. I forgot about that. He was losing that fight handily. Round 3, comes back, gets a TKO over the top over Leonardo Santos, gets the finish, even though we thought he was going to lose that fight. Runs over the cage, hugs none other than who? James Krause. That was in March of 2021. Then he lost that draw to Ricky Glenn in October of October wasn't good to Grant Dawson until now. October was not a great month for him until now. He had the draw with Ricky Glenn in October, and then he had that KO loss to Bobby Green on October 7th of last year. So this October, he had to do something good. He had to turn the luck around, and he got that W. Finished Rafa Garcia. Rafa Garcia's first loss by finish. He had 3 previous losses, all by decision. So, yeah. Grant Dawson. Wow. More to come on him a little later. But yeah, he was also on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, number 6, by the way. He faced Adrian Diaz on August 17th of 2017. Won the fight by submission, rear naked choke, round 2. So that's where his career kind of started. Then he made his UFC official debut in March 9th of 2019 on UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Dos Santos. With the win, Dawson was offered a UFC contract. So, he won the fight via unanimous decision. And guess who he won that fight against? Julian Juicy J. Arosa. Go back and watch that fight. That was a banger too. It was unanimous, but it was fun. And then he had that draw eventually after stringing a couple wins together against Ricky Glenn. Excuse me. So he basically beat Mike Trizano by rear naked choke in May 18th of 2019. Then he had a fight against Derek Minner in February 29th of 2020. We'll circle back to that fight in 2020. It happened at a catch weight because Dawson had missed weight. Weight was an issue because he was trying to get down to 45 at the time. But then he realized he needed to return to lightweight. So he beats Nad Narimani at a catch weight of 150 in July of 2020. Big year. So that was a no fans year right there. He beat Nad Narimani, kneed him in the mouth. It was a good fight. Unanimous decision. It was on the Figueiredo versus Benavidez 2 card, by the way. And that was his last fight down at 145 because he had officially returned to lightweight with that Leonardo Santos KO win in round 3. I guess his body was getting acclimated that fight to carrying that much weight and fighting, because he definitely looked slow in that fight, and he was fighting from behind in that round 3 until he got that finish and jumped into James Krause's arms on top of the cage. And then he had that draw against Ricky Glenn. So it seemed weight seemed to be an issue, but it was like he was at 45 and now he's at 55 and he's still having weight issues, and he's not a 70er because he's only 5'10 and he doesn't have the frame for it. So it was like, oh man, is he like, how is he having issues at 55 now? It wasn't making sense. And then he fights Jared Gordon. And then that's April 30th of 2022. I believe this was his first fight with American Top Team. So he beats Jared Gordon by rear naked choke in April 30th of 2022. Let me see when the James Krause scandal happened. That was November 5th of 2022 was James Krause scandal. So he might have still been with Krause at this time for the Gordon fight. And he might have still been with him for the Mark O'Madsen fight as well. He had a catch weight of 157.5. So Dawson missed weight again by 1.5 pounds. And ends up beating Mark Madsen by rear naked choke, even though he missed weight. So he probably couldn't make it down to 55 anymore. This is the point at which he switched camps completely. So definitely after November 5th, 2022, I should stop saying so much. It's pissing me off. I can hear it. He switches over to American Top Team, takes a fight against Damir Ismagulov, wins the fight by unanimous decision in July 1st of 2023. UFC decides to fast track him at that point because Ismagulov was getting a couple good wins at the point, and he had a nice. Nope, he lost to Arman Tsarukyan, but it was a unanimous decision. He didn't get finished by him, and he beat Kuram Kutateladze, Rafael Alves, Thiago Moises, Joe Alvarez before that, so he was hot. And then Arman Tsarukyan and Grant Dawson both beat him. So now they're looking at Grant Dawson like, oh, you're like in Arman range. We could fast track you to top 5 status, top 15 guys. We could just throw at you. So they throw in Bobby Green. And this is where he takes his first tumble. He maybe the weight issue came back up. Maybe it was something else. Maybe Bobby just caught him with a good shot. Bobby was streaking at the time. But October 7th, 2023, he takes a KO loss to Bobby Green in the very first round, 33 seconds in. It's not looking good for Grant Dawson. Now we're hearing chippers of he's chinny. He doesn't have what it takes to be at the top. Blah, blah, blah. He gets a fight against Joe Selecki on a premier card at UFC 302. Not a main carder. They put him on the prelims, but not the early prelims. They put him on the prelims. Not the first fight, but the second fight. And he gets a unanimous decision win back to his Grant Dawson mode. So now we're thinking Grant Dawson has what it takes. Let's give him another guy. Let's give him Rafa Garcia, a very well-tested guy. Nobody finishes him. He's beaten Nasrat Haqparast. Sorry, he lost to Nasrat Haqparast. But he's beaten Natan Levy. He's beaten Clay Guida. He's beaten Hayase Mahashate. He's beaten all these good guys. He didn't get finished by Jakar Close. He didn't get finished by Gertzmacher. He didn't get finished by Haqparast. So, before he ran into those guys, he was undefeated. Let's give him Grant Dawson. And what does Grant Dawson do? He goes out there and finishes the guy that hasn't been finished with TKOs by elbows and punches, something he hasn't done in 3 years since he was last at 45/55. First time going to 55. He's showing promise again. He's getting finishes. He's adding to his grappling heavy, dominant heavy style on the ground. He's not just holding people down now. He's finishing them with elbows and strikes. Grant Dawson will be getting a good fight after this. What will that be? I don't know, but I think it will be a top 15 guy. I think they give Grant Dawson the top 15 guy after this. Now, last time they did this, didn't work out so well. So I don't think they'll go so high again. What I think they do this time is they give him like a Jalen Turner, a Rafael Dos Anjos, a BSD. One of those 3 guys is who he should get next. If he doesn't get one of those 3 guys next, he should get someone very fringe 55 that could fare very well. Speaking of fair, what about Farazim? He just knocked out Matt Favola. He's right on the edge of top 15. I'd like that fight. Yeah. Yeah, give me that fight. Give me Grant Dawson, Farazim, striker versus grappler. We'll see if Grant Dawson can hold him down, beat him up, or if Farazim can stay on the feet and make the fight interesting. I like that. I feel like that's a good next fight if he doesn't get a top 15. But Grant Dawson, my fighter spotlight of the week, and you deserve it, sir. What a win. Great career so far. Had a little stumble against Bobby Green, but I mean, who doesn't stumble against Bobby Green? Let's talk about it real quick. If we're going to get into it, I mean, a Bobby Green loss doesn't look that bad because Bobby Green, guess who he's knocked out? He's knocked out Ally Quinta. He's beaten Nasrat Haqparast. He's beaten Tony Ferguson, subbed him. He's beaten Jim Miller. He's beaten Clay Guida. He's beaten Lando Venata. He's beaten Eric Koch. He's beaten Josh Thompson, Pat Healy, James Krause, Grant Dawson's coach, former coach. I mean, he's got a lot of good names on his belt, and he's fought a lot of good names, too. I mean, granted, he's lost to Jalen Turner. He's lost to Drew Dober. He's lost to Makachev. He's lost to Fiziev. He's lost to Moises. He's lost to Trinaldo. He's lost to Close. He's lost to Poirier, Barbosa. But a lot of these names, you wouldn't be sad if you have a loss to these names. These are great names that you lost to. Names that we'll be talking about in MMA for time to come, regardless of what they've done. Drew Dober, knockout power. We'll be talking about him for a long time, and that chin. Talking about Makhachev. We'll be talking about Fiziev, that striker. Imagine if he beat Blank and he could have got to the title. Moises, great grappler. Drakkar Klose is still writing his story. Dustin Poirier, all-time great. All these names that he's fought, like it. Most of the people you like would have lost to those names too. So Grant Dawson losing to Bobby Green, that doesn't look so bad in retrospect. His record's looking golden right now. 22-2-1. Give that man a top 15. What are we doing? But if not, I like that Farzian fight. We'll see what the future holds for Grant Dawson. I hope to see a great fight for him in the future. But he deserves something good coming next, because that style and the way he's adding to it now makes for some good ratings and makes for some good finishes in the future. Think about his style on top of certain guys at 55. Him on top of Jalen Turner. Him on top of BSD. Him on top of Fiziev even. I could see a Fiziev on bottom getting taken down by him. I mean, he'll never fight Gamrot and Moicano. They're training partners. A fun fight against Dariush. There's plenty of great matchups for him. So I'd love to see Grant Dawson get a top 15. If not, that Farzian fight could be cool as well. But that is my fighter spotlight of the week. Grant KGD Dawson. Lightweight. Don't forget the name. He's streaking. And you'll see him fighting some of your favorite fighters very, very soon. Moving on. UFC Vegas 98 results. Let's go over the rest of the card before we get into some boxing. Let's just run down the list. Let's just talk about it. Some light. Let's go bottom to top. Clayton Carpenter. Actually, let's go top to bottom. Jungyoung Park defeats Brad Tavares via split decision. Brad Tavares took round 1. I had Brad Tavares in the parlay. Ooh, we came close. Brad Tavares loses via split. 29-28, 28-29, 29-28. Nixit goes 1-1 on the card. It happens. What can you do? The split decisions have not been treating us well recently. They have not been treating us well. Chidi and Njokuani defeats Jared Gooden by unanimous decision. I wish I threw him in the parlay. I wish I did. I was scared because Jared Gooden likes to pull out these surprise wins out of nowhere. So I wasn't sure, especially with the odds that they made. But he wins unanimous, 30-27 across the board. Grant Dawson, we just went over that. TKO, ground and pound, round 2. Daniel Rodriguez defeats Alex Morono. I could have seen it going to Morono, but yeah, it was probably a Rodriguez win. 28-29, 29-28, 29-28. And then Ramazan Temirov defeats CJ Vergara via punches in round 1, 2 minutes and 50 seconds in. We have a new hammer, y'all. I was saying it during the main card minute stream. I looked at Temirov. I was like, I feel like he's the new Figueiredo, dude. Look at him. He came in there like a tight ball of muscle, ready to just throw these 2 bombs. And he hit Vergara hard. Knocked him around 4 different times in that round 1. And we thought he was just about to get out of it. He was like, oh, he's starting to get his whips about him. He's starting to throw back. And then boom. Oof. Vergara on his back. Fight over. Temirov, a new hammer at flyweight. What a beast. Can't wait to see his next fight. Then we go to the prelims. Patsabatini upsetting my man Jonathan Pierce. Rear naked choke, round 1. Pierce never got it going. Got taken down right away. Got his back taken right away. Couldn't get him off his back. Couldn't break the body triangle. Couldn't fight the hands correctly. And he paid for it. Sabatini gets under that chin. Gets that win. Sabatini should be getting a good fight next. After a win like that over JSP. Yeah. Thembagorimbo continues the The Cinderella Story defeats Nico Price via unanimous decision, 30-27 across the board. Glad to see that guy win. I love to see good people win in MMA. He's using his style well. I see a lot of Colby Covington in his style more and more every time he goes out there. But that style got Colby to 3 title shots or 3 title shots. So it's doing well for him. And then Junior Tafa, a come from behind win against Sean Sharaf via TKO in round 2. Was looking slow. Both guys real gassed in round 1, but Sharaf takes that round just off sheer volume. And then Tafa finds the shots in round 2. Punches, baby. Gets Sean Sharaf. Walks out with the win. The Aussies did well on this card. Julia Polastri defeats Corey McKenna via split decision. Could have seen it going either way. But Polastri was landing the bigger shots and pushing Corey McKenna back more. So she deserved the win. 29-28, 28-29, 30-27. And then Cody Haddon, the Aussies, doing well. Or maybe he was Kiwi, New Zealand, but I think he was an Aussie. Cody Haddon defeats Dan Argueta, unanimous decision. I told you guys. Hope you took him. 30-27, 30-27, 30-27. He was putting them hands on Argueta. Argueta had nothing for him and could barely get the takedown. He got 4 takedowns the whole fight. It was a tough one. He took a lot of shots. I'm surprised he didn't get finished a couple times. Dan Argueta went out there and proved how tough he was. He is a tough veteran, but Cody Haddon put it on him, showed why Contender Series put him on. And then Clayton Carpenter defeated Lucas Rocha. I was wrong about this one. I admit I was wrong. Clayton Carpenter submits him rear naked round 2, 2 minutes and 12 seconds in. Just couldn't get it going. Just didn't have enough to push Carpenter back. So Carpenter gets the win. And that is my synopsis of the UFC Vegas 98 card. And that'll do it for MMA this week. Moving on to boxing. Robbery alert. We got a robbery. I called in my group chat. I should have screenshotted the text and showed you guys, but whatever. Beterbiev gets the decision, wins, Splitty City, beats Bivol by split decision. Beterbiev walks out undisputed somehow, some way. Luke was watching the fight and scoring it live. The commentators were watching the fight and scoring it live. Most people had Bivol winning this fight. Bivol landing the better strikes early and through the middle of the fight. Never getting knocked down. Either fighter never getting knocked down, but Bivol looking good in there, landing more volume, seemingly landing the better strikes. But that's not what the judges saw. I guess they were hearing the power of the shots by Beterbiev. Maybe his gloves just sounded better on skin. I don't know what it was. But Beterbiev edges out Dmitrybivol and gets the split decision win. Ramazan Kadyrov being shown next to Arturbeterbiev as he's presented his undisputed belts. Not to mention that this fight was happening in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Couple things a little sketchy here and there. It's already 2 things that I'm on, already a little bit iffy about. It looks like they're trying to set up a rematch. And my money's going on Dmitrybivol again in the rematch. The rematch should not happen in Riyadh. Should not happen in Saudi Arabia. Should not happen in Russia. The rematch should happen in Vegas. The rematch should happen in New York. The rematch should happen in neutral territory. The rematch needs to happen. Dmitrybivol did not lose that fight, but the judges said that he did. And that's the outcome that we get. This is boxing. So, regardless of what anyone had their money on, regardless of what I said in the group chat, regardless of what and where the belts waists, uh, the belts are around waist, regardless of all that, we're gonna get this rematch. And if we don't get this rematch, it's gonna be a travesty for boxing because that was pretty egregious to me. I can't lie. That was pretty egregious. Even watching the fight, I wasn't watching it as much as Luke was. I wasn't watching it as much as anybody there was or anybody true boxing fans were because UFC was going on at the same time. But from what I seen, I was viewing that Dmitrybivol was winning the fight. Now in round 12, I did see that Beterbiev was putting it on Bivol towards the end, but it could have been two reasons that Beterbiev felt that he needed to win that last round because he himself was feeling that he was losing the fight, or that Dmitry Bivol felt that he cruised that fight and he won that. But that's not what happened. The judges gave it to Arturbeterbiev, Ramazan Kadyrov, the Sheik, and Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. They all won today, and we all lost. Yeah, Artur Beterbiev, our undisputed champion at light heavyweight. I'm excited for the rematch. That rematch should happen sometime in 2025. It's honestly the best thing that could have happened. Not for Dmitry Bivol, obviously, but I mean to get a rematch out of this fight, because if they did give it to Bivol, I wouldn't have seen a rematch coming. I wouldn't see a necessary rematch there. So this is a must-see, must-have fight. Bivol's coming in pissed in the next one, and that could lead to him getting KO'd, to him getting the KO, or to him getting an even more dominant decision win. So I want to see what happens next. To be honest, they created intrigue. To be honest, they created intrigue for this fight, and I'm not mad at it. I'm just mad at the money that was lost and the egregious judging. I'm not saying robbery for sure, but there's definitely remnants of robbery. There's definitely notes of robbery that I smell on this fight. But I wouldn't say it's definitely a robbery. But, if it walks like a duck, it sounds like a duck. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So that's it. That's all I'm going to say on that fight. There's definitely some key players in that fight. Eddie Hearn loses again. But hey, what can you do? Other notables in boxing. Let's talk about the rest of that card. Let's talk about the rest of that card real quick. We had Jai Opatai. Aussies win again. Aussies win again. Defeats Jack Massey by 6th round TKO. The corner stopped it. He's putting some heavy hands on him. He's putting these bombs on him. Heavy hands. Fabio Wardley defeated Frazier Clark by 1st round knockout. Go and check that one out. Chris Eubank Jr. defeats Camille Zerameta by 7th round TKO. People talking about the Ben fight. People talking about a lot of different options for Chris Eubank Jr. But there's a lot of matchups we can make for him now. He's an interesting fighter. He talks well. He's got a fighting family behind him. His dad talks well. I'd love to see him in a big fight next. Maybe avenge a loss of his. We'll see. And our girl, Sky Nicholson, baby. Sky Nicholson, the champ, defeats Raven Chapman, defeated her by unanimous decision, 99-91, 98-92, and 98-92. Sky Nicholson retains her belt. She's the champ. What a win. Another good fight coming for her soon. I'd say give her one more similar fight to this and then give her a big fight next. Who that big fight will be, I don't know. But she deserves a good co-main event spot and a big name, whether it's up in weight or not. Maybe we send her up. Maybe you get some more belts for Sky. We'll see what happens. And then Ben Whitaker versus Liam Cameron ends in draw after the fighters tumble over the ropes. Yeah, go see that. It's pretty funny. Not gonna lie, it looks like some cartoon stuff right there. But yeah, that was this weekend in boxing. If there were other cards that people cared about, I didn't, so I didn't cover it. Sorry. Yeah. The reason I wanted to rush past boxing, little 10-minute, 9-minute boxing detour, is because I want to get to our favorite segment of the week and our greatest segment of the year, a nice birthday segment of this week's wins. Happy birthday to this guy. This week's wins, baby. This week's wins. T-dubs dubs. T-dubs dubs. This week's wins. Bam, 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 bam. We won. Yeah. Big wins, baby. Big wins. We gonna start small and we gonna grow as we go. You feel me? Let's start small. The ladies kicking off the card for, well, not kicking off the card, but getting an early fight for me. I had $100. I was like, well, I had a little, yeah, I had $100, and I was like, you know what? Let me make a quick $20. So I had the girls give me a quick $20. I threw a little fight goes the distance on Corey McKenna versus Julia Polastri. Picked up a nice little 20, get 100 back. Some light, just kicking off the night right. Get my toes wet. You feel? Get my toes wet. And then my pick that I gave you guys, Cody Haddon over Dan Argueta. I didn't see Dan Argueta having anything for him, and he didn't have anything for him because Cody Haddon brought the money home, baby. I went small, put basically $100 total on it, but want a quick little $50, say $60 back, something light. Little Cody Haddon win. Just I was starting off slow. You gotta get the toes wet. And then I took a couple L's. I won on Junior Tafa, but it was something small, so I didn't want to do that. I showed you Palastro win. But then my boy comes through. My boy thembagorimbo. Boom. Look at that. Something light. Little $51. Turn it to 70 and 66.30. Now we're picking up steam. Now we're doing good. Now we got something going for us. Let's go. We're cooking with gas now. Now we're feeling good. We're going into Jonathan Pierce Sabatini. I'm like, yo, Pierce is about to take him out. I got Pierce in all the parlays. We already got the head and leg hit. We're looking good. Pierce lets us down. Kills all the parlays, essentially. Almost all my parlays had Pierce in it. Didn't see that coming. Didn't see Sabatini beating him that quick either. I blew it for all of you guys, and I'm sorry for that. That should have been in this week's wins. I should have switched him out for Garimbo, honestly. It was a bad move by me. I should have went with the feel-good story and should have known that he would have won. But hey, we make mistakes. We'll come back stronger next week. I got something cooking for you guys. You'll see later. But yeah. We win on Garimbo, but we lose on JSP. And then we have Temerov versus CJ Vergara. And I'm like, I look at him walking in the cage. I'm like, this guy's the second coming of Figueiredo. This guy's the second coming of Figueiredo. I got to put money on him. I don't have him in any parlays. So I crafted a parlay. Number one, crafted a fat little parlay. And then number two, since he was such a fat winner, I was like, no, minus 360. I got to parlay him and Grant Dawson. I'm going to do it. So I threw them in a parlay. But then I took him straight up, TKO, on both apps. But then I pulled a dumb move where I second guessed myself. Never second guess yourself. If you put that bet in, you meant to put that bet in and keep that bet in. I second guessed myself. I cashed out on FanDuel. They wouldn't let me off DraftKings, so I was locked in, but I cashed out on FanDuel. Took that money that I was going to put on his TKO and I put on Vergara. Guess what I lost? Because guess what? Temerov knocked his ass out. The 50 on DraftKings cashes. I cashed out the 50 on FanDuel. Should have left it in because then I would have won 350 on this fight. But hey, what can you do? You live, you learn. Whatever. Plus 280, plus 250. We still walked out a winner. Still walked out a winner. And you know, I had Alex Morono and we lost on Alex Morono. It was close. It was a split decision. It could have went either way. You know, I'm still happy I placed the bet because, you know, we could have won that. And you already know, we'll circle back to Grant Dawson. But I had to go with my boy Chitty. Had to take him straight up. So, you know, had to cash that. Chitty, a little 50 spot both times. Both cashed at 84. Pick up about $68 on that, $69. Because we fucking DraftKings and FanDuel up. That's what we do. And then I crafted my parlay, like I said. I crafted this one on DraftKings at first. Tried to make it not sweaty as possible. So I had a little Temerov, Grant Dawson, like I said, two big favorites at minus 300s. And then I did a couple, you know, over 1.5. So I wanted to stay safe. So I did a Tavares fight and the Daniel Rodriguez Morono fight. And it cashes at plus 161, turned 100 into $261 on DraftKings. DraftKings, eat my ass. Yeah, I made a lot of money off of you this weekend. And then I had to get FanDuel off as well. I was like, yo, FanDuel, I gotta beat you up too. Give me some of your fucking cash. And then FanDuel, I couldn't do that 1.5. They don't let you do that on FanDuel. So I just took the over 2.5 into Tavares. Didn't chance it on the Chitty fight as well. So I just did a 3-legger for plus 127. 100 turns into 227. Not too bad. A little parlay, a little something that I had to make on the main card because we lost all our parlays on JSP. And then my two superstars of the night, my two fucking shining bright stars of the night. God bless you two. Let's start off with my man on DraftKings, Grant Dawson, baby. $25 on plus 900. Grant Dawson to win by TKO, KO, DQ. Guess what the man did? He won 25 and a 250. Yeah, I did it twice. Check out the time on that. Placed it again a few minutes later at 7:45. Grant Dawson, KO, TKO. Had to do it twice on him. I was like, put in for 25. I was like, yo, I feel like this could hit. Went back in for 25. Went back the fuck in for 25 because that's what I did. And not only did I do it on DraftKings, baby. Yes, motherfucker. Oh, wrong one. Yes, motherfucker. I did it on FanDuel as well. Look at the times. Look at the fucking times. Don't play with me, baby. Don't fucking play with me. 7:43, I put it the first one. 2 minutes later, I'm like, no, fuck that. I said, no, fuck that. We getting more fucking money from FanDuel tonight. Fuck that. 2 minutes later, another 25. And we cash. We fucking cash. TKO, 25. $1,000 on one fight. $1,000 on one fight. God bless you, Grant Dawson. God fucking bless you. What a win. And then I'm feeling good. I'm like, birthday weekend. I already won 1,000 tonight. Let's make it almost $2,000. Let's make it almost $2,000 on one fight night. So you know I had to put the money on Royval. Royval. I was like, DraftKings, 100 on Royval. I won 1,000 tonight. Let me put 100 on Royval. Raw dog, baby. We raw dogging tonight. And you know what? I said I won on FanDuel too. So let me put a little FanDuel money on Royval. And you know what? Let me double down. And you know what? Let me triple the fuck down. You know what I mean? 100 on Royval. Then I came back a few minutes later, put another 25 on Royval. Then I said, no, fuck that. Triple down. Put 50 on Royval. The odds got a little closer, but I said, fuck it. Live inside the fight, 9:28. Look at the time, 9:28. Another 50 down. I'm a sick fuck, I know. And what? Did I do it on DraftKings too? Motherfucker, I did. Let's go. More money, more problems, and I love problems. This week's wins. What the fuck was it? This week's wins. Let's go, baby. Birthday weekend, $2,000. $2,000. That's how I like it. And we got football parlays cooking right now. Right now, I got a football parlay going off. I hope it's winning. Let's see. Let's look. Let's see if I'm winning more money. Let's see. You know what? I'm not gonna make this part of this week's wins. But yeah, you see what the fuck I'm on. Follow, y'all. Please send your wins in. I don't want to be the only one winning. I hope you're tailing. Send your wins. One more round fights at gmail.com. I will feature you. I'll put you up there. I hope the parlay hits next week, because if you send in your wins, I will feature you, your name. If you got a little photo you want to put up of you winning, whatever, I'll put it up. You already know. This week's wins. Fuck with me. Thank you to the MMA gods for treating me well on my birthday for this week's wins. Thank you. And you're welcome if you tailed. See you next week on this week's wins. All right. And we got 5 minutes on the hour left. Let's do a little predictions for the cards next week. I forgot to check if there's boxing. Ooh, forgot to check if there's boxing. Let me check on boxing real quick, because if so, then I'll do a quick boxing one. Let's see. What do we have? What do we got here? All right. So boxing schedule for next week. Let's see. October 26th, we have Catterall Prograis. October 14th, we have Nakatani versus Salapat. Nothing crazy in between. We have Tim Tszyu versus Murtaliev in Orlando, Florida on Prime next week. So my prediction is Tim Tszyu TKO. Tim Tszyu TKO is my prediction. And now let's get into our MMA predictions. Let's start off with PFL, Battle of the Giants. Oh, sorry. Let's start off with UFC Fight Night. Hernandez versus Pereira. Let's do that. My picks for you guys. Immediately, right off the rip, Jake Hadley, Kyler Phillips. I'm hesitant on this, but he can't lose to Austin Lane. He just can't. So, Robelis Despaigne, Brad Katona, and possibly Charles Johnson over Sumideri. If I have to pick in the main event, I'm going to go Pereira. Hernandez is still young, still plenty of time to make a name for himself. I feel like Pereira this is his time. He's getting lots of finishes. He's looking the best he's ever looked. He's got the striking. He's got the jiu-jitsu. He's got everything working for him right now. So if he just doesn't get taken down by Hernandez, I think he wins this fight. Yeah, let's quickly go through the card. I will put out my official parlay later in the week, but if I don't get to it and you watch this stream, the parlay will probably be Despaigne, Katona, Hadley, Johnson. Probably Despaigne, Katona, Johnson, more than likely. Despaigne, Katona, Johnson is definitely going to be one. And my high risk would probably be like Hadley, Phillips, Johnson, Pereira. Something like that. We'll see what happens. But yeah, those are my picks for next week's card. UFC Fight Night. I believe that's also happening in Vegas. Yep, it's happening at the Apex. It'll be UFC Fight Night 99 and UFC Fight Night 245. UFC Vegas 99, UFC Fight Night 245. Austin Lane Despaigne, Melissa Martinez Ardelian. I'm going with Alice Ardelian. Jessica Penne, Elise Reed. Jessica Penne just loses for me way too much. I just can't do it anymore. No, I'm going with the other person, Elise Reed, 31 years of age, coming off a loss to Lupita Godinez, but she beat Jinh Yu Fries. Good enough for me. She also beat Melissa Martinez, who's also fighting on the card against El- Eli- Alice Ardelian. Jocelyn Edwards, Tamiris Vidal, take the over. Brad Katono, Gene Matsumoto. I got to go Brad Katona. Wrestling, he always defies the odds. Matheus Nicolau versus Asu Almabayev. Nicolau's disappointed me a lot, but I'm going to have to go with him here. Darren Elkins versus Daniel Pineda. Elkins going to take some damage, but I think he's going to get the takedown and win this fight. Brady Heistan versus Jake Hadley. Hadley with the experience for me, especially since he's looked so good at bantamweight since moving up from flyweight. Charles Johnson against Sumideri. Sumideri always gets beat up by these guys that have high pace, so I got Charles Johnson. Kyler Phillips versus Rob Font. Kyler Phillips is coming off of a 3-fight win streak, beating Marcelo Rojo, Raoni Barcelos, and most recently Pedro Munoz. Gotta go with the streaking up-and-comer. Rob Font not looking so great recently, coming off 2 losses to Corey Sandhagen and Davison Figueiredo. So he's only won 1 of his last 5. So I got to go with Kyler Phillips here. Kyler Phillips will probably be going in the parlays as well. And then Michelle Pereira over Anthony Hernandez. I love Fluffy. Fluffy is only 30 years of age, but I got to go with Michelle Pereira, 31. Showed more recently and hasn't lost since 2020. So I got to go with Michelle. Just got to do it. And that's it for my UFC picks. Moving on, we have my PFL picks, baby. Battle of the Giants. PFL, Battle of the Giants. We got some fights. We got Ngannou, Renanferreira. You know I'm going with Ngannou. Can't go against Ngannou. Renanferreira loses to everybody and then somehow gets them turned into no contests. So he lost to Kuniev, got it turned to a no contest. Lost to Abreu, got it turned to a no contest. Lost to Fabricio Verdum, got it turned to a no contest. Well, actually, it was a TKO for Ferreira, but he had already tapped to Verdum's triangle, so whatever. And then he lost to Brett Martin by illegal strikes in a LFA semifinal, and Vinicius Maeda, he lost by an armbar. So he loses a lot. So in my book, he's 13-6, and he's going up against Ngannou, who has beaten freaking Stipe Miocic, who's beating Cyril Gane, who's beating Jairzinho Rosenstrike, who's beating Junior Dos Santos, who's beating Cain Velasquez, who's beating Curtis Blades multiple times, and Overeem, and Orlovsky. No, motherfucker, I'm going Ngannou. Put the money on Ngannou. The whole fucking house on Ngannou. What the hell? No fucking way I'm going with Pereira. And besides that, yeah, come on, bro. Ngannou all day. Then we got Cyborg Pacheco. I think Cyborg still got a little in the tank. I'm going to go Cyborg here. She's going to use her experience. Pacheco tends to lose decisions sometimes. And I don't see her having the power to take Cyborg out. So, Cyborg. Then we got Evelyn Edwards. We've seen this fight already, and Evelyn won the fight by KO in round 3. I think he replicates it. Round 3 TKO, Johnny Evelyn. Maybe he gets it done earlier in round 2. Could be a decision, but I got Johnny Evelyn in round 3. So my PFL parlay is probably going to be Ngannou, Evelyn, Stotts. Maybe Ngannou, Cyborg, Evelyn, Stotts. And then we have Hassoun Kadimagamev versus Zafar Mozen. I don't know anything about either of these guys, so I'm not going to make a pick there. AJ McKee versus Paul Hughes. I think AJ McKee's just too good, too experienced, too everything. AJ McKee should beat Paul Hughes. I'll probably put him in my high-risk parlay because Paul Hughes could still win this, but AJ McKee is going to win this fight without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. And then Rofion Stotts versus Marcus Breno. This was, I believe, set up a few weeks ago and broken up for some reason. And Stotts was ready to fight, but Breno wasn't. So there's a rematch for here. I got to go with Stotts here. Always go with my boy Rofion Stotts. And the rest of the card, I don't know much about these guys. So yeah, those are my picks. Stotts, McKee, Evelyn, Cyborg, and Ngannou. Those are my PFL Battle of the Giants picks. Hope you cash if you decide to tail them. And that does it for my show here today. That's the end of my birthday show. I'm gonna get you guys out. It was only an hour. Hope I did you right. Let me quickly again. My name is Gaff. I'm the host of this here show. One More Round Fights. I give you boxing, MMA news, MMA picks, boxing picks, all that, parlays. We try to make you money here. Please follow us on socials, the Main Card Minute and One More Round Fights. Please like and subscribe below. Please follow me on my other social media channels. That is where you will see the pics if I put out the graphics. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, especially. One More Round Fights at One More Round Fights. Please follow and like. If you have wins, please send them in to one more round fights at gmail.com. That is one more round fights at gmail.com. I want to see you cash. Shout out to our sponsor, w.gg. Use our code one more round to get 10% off the products. That's w.gg, one more round, 10% off. These are wellness and body products, nutrients, all that type of stuff. And shout out to my gold stars. Shout out to Grant Dawson. Shout out to Brandon Royval. Shout out to my boys making me some money. Any other sponsors, please hit me up. I like money. You like money. Let's make it together. You already know. I'm not shouting you guys out anymore. You already know. Hit me up if you want to sponsor this show. And that's it for me. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my birthday. I'm going to go see Joker. I'm going to go eat some food. I'm going to see if my bets are cashing. And I'm going to go fuck off for the rest of my day. Hope you guys do too. Until next time, enjoy the fights. Peace.